Hey guys, so in this video we are going to work on some of our vocab for topographic maps. And so we have a little foldable that we're going to put in our notebook. So you guys are going to need your notebook. If you have a space on the left, I would start here. Eventually we'll have 4 pages of notes, so it would just be even. If you have to start on this side, it's fine. You're also going to need this piece of paper, scissors, glue, and something to write with. So make sure you have all of that right now. To save time in the video, I went ahead and I have a copy of this already cut out. So how you're going to cut them out is this looks like the main piece of your paper. So you can just start by cutting out this huge rectangle. You do want to keep these tabs on, and you're going to want to cut out the title. So whenever you cut out the big rectangle, it'll look just like this. And by the way, here's the title. And then what you're going to do is this square or this cross on the inside, you're going to cut it down to where you have 2 separate pieces like this. And then we want to be able to lift each of these up. So go ahead and cut this line also. So if you need to get cutting, pause the video and cut quick. Now what we're going to do is we're going to glue all of this stuff into your journal. So if you have a composition notebook like mine, it'll be like a tight fit. So make sure that you're spacing it out before you start gluing. I'm going to start with this inside piece. The only part you have to put glue on is this tab, and you're going to put it on the underside of the tab. So if you want to go ahead and fold along the bold line where you cover up the words, that's probably a good idea. It doesn't have to be perfect. Then you're going to put glue here. And glue it into your journal. Now, because it is a tight fit for the composition notebooks, I'm going to try to get it as close to the bottom and the inside of my notebook as I can. So we're just gluing down the tab. That way we can, it's still glued to our paper, but we can open these flaps so that we can write some of our vocab under here. And then you're just going to do the same thing on this side. So again, I'm going to fold over the lines first. I might be going kind of quick for you, but remember, you can just pause real quick, get where I'm at, and then play your video. Okay, so again, we're going to glue on this side of the tab. And try to get it even, just to look nice. There we go. Okay, so again, if yours end up overlapping a little bit, that's fine. Just make sure you have room to write. Make sure you didn't accidentally do what I did and glue one of these down, because we definitely need to be able to lift this up. And then last thing we need to glue down is our title. Just put some glue on the back of this. And there we go. Okay. So let's start with the basics. What is a topographic map? So you guys just did the little intro activity with the Play-Doh. Make sure you put your lid on your glue, please. So what is a topographic map? So if you'll flip this open, we're going to go ahead and write our definition right here. We talked about this a little bit with our activity, but a topographic map is a map showing the shape, there we go, the shape and elevation. Remember, elevation is how high or how tall something is, or it could even be how low it is if it's like a crater. So it's a map showing the shape and elevation of land features from a top-down view. So it would be like if you are flying in an airplane and looking down on a crater, if you are flying in an airplane looking down on a mountain, that's what our topographic map looks like right here. So it's a bird's eye view of whatever land feature it is we're looking at. If you need more time to write this, go ahead and pause. I'm going to move on. So we have this map made of all these lines. So remember, those are called contour lines. So what exactly is a contour line? What do these things mean? A contour line is a line joining points of equal elevation on a surface. So what that means is it's kind of like connecting the dots. People will go and do surveys and they'll figure out that, you know, here, here, and here are all the same elevation, and so what they'll do is they'll draw a line all around that feature to indicate, hey, all of this area is the same elevation. So every line is a certain elevation. So a line joining points of equal elevation on a surface. Each line represents its own point of elevation. Okay, we're going to kind of go in a counterclockwise way. So explain what an interval is on a contour map. So we also have something called a contour interval, and the interval is the difference in elevation between each contour line. So we know from what we just wrote that each of these lines is worth a different elevation. The interval is the space in between each line. So for example, if this line right here, if we labeled this as 0, and then this next elevation was 10, and this next elevation was 20, and the next elevation was 30, the interval is going to be the difference between each of these lines. So you could just subtract the difference. So 10 minus 0, well, there's 10, a difference of 10 here. This one's 20 and this one's 10, so 20 minus 10 is 10. So what you'll notice is if you find the interval between a specific two lines, your map uses that same interval for the whole map. So if you figure out that these two have a difference of 10, that's going to mean that these two have a difference of 10. Which, by the way, let's address something real quick. Let's look at the difference between these two lines right here. Let's say that that's 10 meters. Well, because this interval is 10 meters, that means even in this large space right here, this interval is 10 meters. So something you guys may want to take note of is that the closer the lines are together, that means the steeper your elevation is right here. This is going to be less steep. So for example, if you're hiking, you would probably want to come to this side of the hill or the mountain because it's less steep. It's going to be an easier climb versus maybe if you're wanting to go mountain climbing, you may come to this side over here. So the closer the lines, the steeper it is. Let's actually make a note of that. Let's pull it out over here under what's a contour line. Let's say closer lines equals steep. And we'll say spaced lines is less steep. Okay, and our last one, who would use a topographic map? So when in real life are we ever going to use this, right? So if you ever go hiking or camping, so we're going to say hikers and campers, they use topographic maps all the time for reasons like I just said. If you're just looking to take a nice little hike and you're not trying to have a huge workout or mountain climb or you don't have a bunch of equipment, you're going to want to take the less steep side versus the steep side. Who else uses this is our military. If they're going into an unfamiliar territory, they use topographic maps to make sure that they're going to be able to access wherever they're trying to go. People called survivalists use topographic maps, again, especially for unfamiliar territory. Some other people, land developers. So if they're trying to build a new office building, a new mall, maybe a new neighborhood, they're going to use topographic maps to see, is this a good location? And if it is, are we going to have to come bring bulldozers? Are we going to need to level things out? Are we going to have to flatten it? And then the last one is actually erosion specialists. So remember, ooh, I almost didn't put that in there. Remember, erosion is whenever you have sediment or pieces of land that move. They get washed away by water, blown away by wind, and so you have to have an erosion specialist come and check out certain pieces of land to make sure, hey, if we do build something here, is it going to get ruined soon by erosion? So those are people that's literally their job, is they go and survey land all the time, and they have to assess how much erosion happens here, what are the factors in it, what's going to affect it. So more people than this use topographic maps. These were just 5 examples I thought you guys might enjoy. So go ahead, clean up your station, make sure everything is good to go. Again, it should look like this. One last view at what your notes should look like.